Hi YouTube, how are you? How is everybody doing today? I'm going to make a video of a recipe that I make for our family all the time, and it's been in our family for a long time. It's called Pasta Fazool. Some of you people say Pasta Fagioli, whatever, but it's actually Pasta Fazool. You could say it any way you want. But anyway, the method I'm making today is it's more of a simple method. There's a bunch of different ways to do it. There's never really any wrong way. But this has been, I'm Italian, both sides, my mom and dad. Learned this from my grandmother and my mom. They kind of both different ways to do this. But this way here is a more simplistic way, an easier way to do it. And this one happens to be a way, I'm making it for my grandmother who's actually 100, and I'm making it with no salt. You know, I'm using no salt tomato paste and no salt tomato sauce, which basically any brand will work. You don't have to use no salt. I'm doing it because she can't have a lot of sodium. So we're going to bring some flavor out in this and other ways to do it. And I'm going to show you a way. You can make it exactly the same way. My recommendation is, you know, you want to use a little bit of salt to bring in the flavor, because this is the quick way to do it. And how we're going to do it today is you're going to need some garlic. Use probably about 3 or 4 cloves of garlic. You're going to use a small onion, and this is one of the ways we're going to bring out the flavor in the, you know, because we're not using the salt. But you could use onion also in a regular way. And then we're also going to use some celery. I just have 3 sticks of celery here. We're going to cut it up, and I'm going to show you how it's going to work. And we're going to also use cannellini beans, canned. I'm using Goya here. You can use any brand you want, but that's what we're going to use. The way my mother taught me was you can get the beans in the bag and let them sit all day and soak them, but I don't really do it that way anymore because, I mean, it does have a little bit more flavor, a little more density to it, but this is fine, and it works out well, and I want to hear your opinion. Before I get started, could you please push the subscribe button, and you know, or like would be great also. I'm going to go through this. This is my first time making a cooking video, so please give me your critiques a little bit. It'd be nice to know. And I'm going to show you, I have some of the things already ready here, so I'm going to go through what we're going to be doing here in a second, okay? First thing we're going to do is we have a pot here that is already heated. You never want to put oil into a cold pot. So what we're going to do here is we're going to grab some olive oil, and we're going to coat the bottom of the pan with olive oil. You don't want to get the pan, you know, you don't want to get it super, super hot, but the pot's been on there for a while. And we've got some garlic here. You simply just take the garlic like this. Hopefully you guys can see this. Let me move a little closer for you. And move it down. There we go. And we're going to take the garlic, and all you really got to do with your garlic here, people, is you just take it, mash it once, give it a cut, and go into the side here. So we're going to lower the oil temperature a little bit. Take the garlic, smash it, throw it in. Take the garlic, smash it, cut it. I usually give it a little cuts. Sometimes you can do that too. Brings out the flavor in it. Take this here, give it a little cut in half, and we're going to take this and throw this in pasta. So that's all. We're going to let the garlic sit there. You don't want to burn the garlic. You just wanted to get the flavor in there from it. And then what I'm doing is I'm taking the onion, a small onion. Like I said, this is going to add some flavor to the to it. And I just take the onion, you just cut it like this. Watch your fingers. Keep your fingers behind it like this. And just keep mashing away. Maybe this is boring for you guys, but maybe I'll delete it, I don't know, or I'll go through it. And that's it. Like I said, you don't want to burn anything on here. You just want to make everything cook nice and slow. Okay, so then we're going to take this, not to make a huge mess. I take the onion and I'm going to throw it in the pan, like so. So your ingredients are So for our onion and garlic, we're going to take some tomato paste. Some tomato paste. And here it's a little hot. We're going to simmer it down just a smidge. With the onion, you want the onion to break down so it gets the flavor. You don't want to really get it in there with when the onion's really hard. So you want to make the onion real soft. So what we're going to also do now is we take some tomato paste, and with the tomato paste, what's going to happen is we're going to make this, it's going to get nice and thick in there with the tomato paste. So you let the tomato paste break down in with the onion and garlic. So I'll show you some pictures of that. So what we have here is this. You're just going to have this. You break it down like this. Just turn it around. Yeah, the garlic's a little brown, but that's alright. Well, all we're trying to do is we want to get flavor out of this, okay? So we're just keeping this tomato paste is going to get nice and thick and kind of stick to the sides. And what you do is you just get a little tiny bit of water and you put the water in there so it all starts to absorb, okay? Once the water is absorbing, I'll show you. You probably take about 4 ounces of water. I'm just using a little cup here. And put that in there. You just turn it up and let it start going. Once she starts cooking now, we're going to take some of the celery and put the celery in there now also. Let me pull this back. You can see that's doing its thing. I got it set on a medium-high heat right now. So we cook all the stuff out of the way here. And we got the celery here. And we're just going to take the celery. There's no, just you want small little pieces. So this is all going to break down with the broth and everything you're making here. So there'll be plenty of flavor out of this. What a lot of people do is, what you may want to think about doing is, how I make it when I'm making a batch for our family, sometimes if we have it, you take salt pork and you put salt pork in the oil and let that heat up and because the salt will release from the salt pork, and you can use that also. Like I said, this is a no salt recipe for my grandmother. And as you can see here, as what we're doing is just that one little bit of water. See, we're starting to get a nice little, it's starting to break down. And from there, we're going to get a little bit of chicken stock. We put the chicken stock in here too. Now I have just regular chicken stock. So I have this up pretty high. So what you want to do is you don't want anything to burn, and you just keep stirring and stirring and stirring. So what's happening is the tomato paste and the onion and the garlic and the celery is all binding together. So it's going to have all the flavor is going to come out through the paste, because this is your main thing, is the paste. That's your main what's giving you the density of it, okay? And I also have a can of tomato sauce. You could put that in, but what we're going to do is we're going to take some of the chicken stock now, and we're going to put probably about a half a box of this in, and let that start breaking down. So what you're going to see is this. Now I'm speeding this up a little bit, but because that's just for the video. So here now we're going to let that go for a little bit and let that start coming to like almost a boil, but you got to watch over it now and keep stirring. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to just stay on this and we're going to stir it until she starts. Keep it nice and. Let me show you here so you can see. Hopefully you can see this. There we go. We're going to keep it going. See how it's pretty thick right now. So once she starts getting nice and thick, we're going to add a little bit of the tomato sauce in there. But what I want to do is I want this, just the water, the broth, the celery, and the garlic and onion here just to all kind of come together, which it will. So I have it set up a little high. Normally you could put the tomato sauce in too right away, but I just want to show you what it should look like with the tomato paste and just the broth, the consistency. I don't know if you can see that, but it's kind of thick, you know. And then after this starts going, we're going to take and add our beans to the to this and let it sit. So normally at this point I would add a little pepper. I add a little red pepper in it for a little spice, you know. You could use a little red pepper in there. I may add just a pinch of pepper because she has a very strict diet, but you can make this adding a little salt to yourself, added salted pork, adding regular and not non-salted tomato paste. So I'm going to add a little pinch of pepper. Just a little bit. Pepper's not going to hurt you. So you can see it's starting to come alive now. Now this should take about 45 minutes to an hour. You know, once you put the beans and everything in. Of course, the longer you cook it, the more flavor you're going to get out of it. But you do not want to burn this. Okay? You do not want, you got to keep it going. I have it set on 8 out of 10 right now. Normally I cook it a little slower, but for the sake of the video, like I said, I'm going to be speeding it up a little bit. And try to keep your workspace always as clean as possible. Because, here we go. She's starting to come alive now. See how she's thickening up? It's thickening up, thickening up. And once you get, like, you could kind of feel your celery. Once the celery starts getting a little soft, that's you could add your beans in here. So we're gonna add 2 cans. We're making a kind of a small dish. This is enough to feed a family. And we also are going to be adding a little more water too. We're gonna add about 16 ounces of water on top of this. 2 cups, which is 8 ounces. You know, 8 ounces a cup, which is. So we're gonna do that. Now I'm going to. Let's see here. Yep, celery's starting to get a little soft. We'll wait a little bit. I know this is boring. I'm probably going to have to, I'll cut some of this out. So you don't have to put you guys through all this watching. So, like I said, you can see it's kind of bubbling up a little bit. We're going to add a little water to this. But first we're going to add the tomato sauce. So if you see here, I'm going to take the tomato sauce. It's just a small little 4-ounce can of tomato sauce. See how she's going? She's bubbling away pretty good there. I'm not leaving the pot. I'm staying right with it. You can leave the pot afterwards. No, just getting a little tomato sauce here. 4 ounces again, no salt. And I take another, with the pot, I fill this with water and add this in there. Now, about the water. The reason why I'm adding water and adding 16 things of water, because this could be very tomatoey. So you can do that to your taste, but I normally add, I would say, 12 to 16 ounces of water to this right now. So we're going to do that right now. So there's 8 right there. Yeah. Now you got to know, the longer you cook this, the thicker it's going to get. So that's what we're judging this now. I'm going to add a little bit more water. And there we go. So I would say this time I added about 12. So you could keep adding, but you want it to build its base right now. That's what we're doing. So I said 12 to 16. So normally I would add, if I was making 2 cans of paste, 2 cans of tomato sauce, I would add probably add 16. I may add a little more, but 12 seems to be fine right now. So let's go with that for now. And then we're going to let this thicken up. And then I'm going to get my beans. Once this starts getting into a rapid boil, like I said, do not leave it yet. You're just going to keep stirring, make sure nothing is sticking to the bottom. I'm going to add my 2 cans of beans in a little bit. I'll open those up. And you could use cannellini beans, pinto beans, whatever. You could use Goya. It doesn't really matter what kind of beans you use. You could use even black beans, chickpeas, but I would say use cannellini, navy beans, pinto beans, something like that. You know, let her thicken up a little bit. That's what she's doing. Let's go get it going here. So yeah, so if you guys are interested, I make lasagna, I make chicken marsala, I make a bunch of different things, and I have people over, and everybody seems to like it. And I'm not just saying that. I mean, I'm not claiming to be any cook or anything, but I do have people always call me asking me for my recipes. So my friends and so on, and I go over there and cook. So now another thing I'm going to add also. So let that do its thing. And what I want to say here is, if you kind of pasta to use. So there's 2 ways to do this. So my wife doesn't like a lot of pasta in hers. She likes to have, you know, add her own pasta and then add it to add the broth or the base to that. So I grew up making it. You know, you could use elbows, you could use dentellini, which is the little tube. I'll take a little tubatini, I guess you call it. I'm making, in this case, I'm using elbows. So how we do it here, because of my wife, is I make the pasta separate, and I strain it and leave it in the pot without putting it into this. I'm putting it into the base here. So in other words, it's sitting in the strainer, and we add the pasta and then add the base, which is the Pasta Fazool itself. But that's because she doesn't like a lot of pasta in it. So to save arguments, that's the way we do it. The way I prefer to make it is I cook the pasta separately, how much I'm going to use, like probably half a box in this case. And then after that pasta is cooked, I add the pasta right to this and let it slow cook with everything in there together. So the pasta's already kind of cooked, you know. Never overcook your pasta. You always want it, when you take a bite out of it, to have a little firmness to it. That's called al dente. So you want it to be like that when you put it in here as well. So that's what we're doing. So right now, this is really starting to roll. You can see it's starting to get starting to foam. I'll show you here. And if you could want to take a quick peek down here. Sorry for the camera moving around on you, but there we go. So this is what we're doing here. So we're adding 1 can, and we're adding 2 cans of beans to this, and we are definitely stirring. So you can add 2 to 3 cans depending on your taste. So it's very thin right now. So now what we're going to do is we're going to bring this up to a boil, and then we're going to let it simmer after this comes to a boil. Right now I have it on 8. I'm going to be standing here watching it, and we're going to bring this to a boil, and then we're going to back it down and let it all simmer, you know, for probably, I'd say, about 40 minutes or so. And then just come by every once in a while and stir it. So all this, you'll see, will thicken up. And we'll get back to you. I won't bore you guys with that wait, but we'll get back to you on that in a little bit. Alrighty, thank you. I'll be back. Hang on 1 second here. I just want to make sure you got a good picture of that. Alright, we'll be back. Hi YouTube, we're back. Okay, so we've been going probably about 15 minutes now, and I'm going to show you how it looks when you want to start shutting everything, bringing it to a slow kind of simmer here. Now she's up high right now. Let me just get you over here. Sorry for the camera movement here. I'm not really good at this. So this is on high. We're going to back this down now. See how it's foaming up? It's foaming up. We're going to back this down on low right now. And we have some pasta I'm cooking here also, if you see. I got a little pasta cooking. We're going to put that down. So as I'm cooking the elbows, I just lowered this. I'm lowering the Pasta Fazool right now down to 2 because it was on 8. So we're going to lower that down. And this right here is the pasta. To see the elbows. We're going to take this and add that to the Pasta Fazool, which is back here. So let that start rolling down. You don't want to get it too hot and keep it too hot for too long on the Pasta Fazool, because what happens with the Bast here, the broth itself, you'll break down all the beans, and they'll get the shells will start coming off. So you want to cook it slow for a long period of time. Like I said, 45 minutes. We rolled it to a boil now. I would say a good 45 minutes. The longer the better. I mean, it's not going to go bad. And actually, the longer you cook it, the more flavor you're going to get out of it. So right now, it's still cooling down. So you'll see it will not be bubbling like this after she cools all down. But you want to just keep it at a very, very slow cook. And then I'm going to add the pasta in it towards the end. So the pasta I'm going to take and put it in a strainer when it's cooked, which probably got about another 7 minutes on that. And this is going to slow itself down. As you can see, the foam around the sides here, if you look, the foam around the sides, that is what's dissipating. So it's evaporating. The water's evaporating in there and all the moisture. So it's going to start to thicken up. So that's what's That's what you see there. So you just see I put big cloves of garlic in so people can see them. Some, we all like garlic in our family pretty much. But if you're making it for people that are coming over, or for dinner, or for whatever, you want to keep the cloves big, so at least if they don't like it, they can see it and pull it out and not eat it if they want. So anyway, this is what's going on here. We're going to just let this do its thing. So yeah, celery's a little crunchy, but definitely soft. And you'll know this when this is done, is that the celery will be completely soft. You want to just break that real crispness at first, like I was saying, to break it down. So when the celery gets real soft, you'll see all the onions and everything will dissipate. You won't be able to see any onions. So you just want to cook it slow and just give it a stir every once in a while. Come back like every 10-15 minutes or so. Give it a stir, but always stir from the bottom, so you may want to even do like a zigzag on the bottom to make sure that nothing's sticking to the bottom. So let that sit. Let this pasta sit, and we'll go from there. And I'll be back when this is done, and I'll show you what it's going to look like. Okay? Thank you very much. And like I said, subscribe, like, whatever. I'll be back. Toodles. Okay, people, we're back. I'm going to show you where we are now. It's been probably about a half an hour. So it's getting to be right around, another 15 minutes or so. But I just want to show you so you can see, because a lot has changed. I added the pasta. The pasta was cooked about halfway. If you see here, it was cooked about halfway, and then I added it into the Bast, into the mix here, and you'll see that. Let me get you a good view here, so you can see we're cooking on 2.5, 3. See if you can see how thick this has gotten right now, and the celery's just about soft. It's yeah. So like I said, another 15 minutes or so should be fine. You just want to let it cook throughout. You can leave it on for hours. The only thing is you may want to do, if you leave it on out long, a lot of the will evaporate. It'll thicken more and more, and you're going to want to add a little bit of your stock to it. So it's got to be the way. You don't want it watery. So this isn't water. This is thick. This is actually pretty good consistently. What you do is when you're done, like I said, about 15 minutes from now, which I think is probably the minimum you want to go. So for beginning and end, it should take you about an hour, minimum. because like I said, the longer you cook it, the thicker it's going to get. And when you're done, you just add a little bit of Parmesan to the top of it, and that's it. And you can have you can make this, you know, get yourself some nice Italian or Italian bread, French bread, whatever, and you know, we use this for a meal. Like in Italy, this is a first course, and they don't really make as much. They have little tiny bowls, but we kind of eat this with the salad. It's like a nice, definitely good for winter. I even make it in the summer too. So it's to whatever you want. But this is basically how you make it. Again, you coat the pan with olive oil, let it heat up. I'll go through that in a minute, okay? Just to go over everything here. All right, so you heat the pan medium-high, let it get a little warm. You add olive oil to it, you add garlic, you add onion. You want to keep stirring that. Do not let the garlic burn, don't let the onion burn. So it shouldn't burn because you're keeping it, the oil, warmish hot. So let that go in there. And you keep stirring that around. Then you open the tomato paste right away while that's all cooking. So you want that to kind of sear. You get the tomato paste in there, put it in with the other two, onion and garlic. Onion is, if you don't want onion, you don't have to use it. I use onion. I recommend onion. It gives it a little bit more flavor too. Some of the old school Italians say, you just need to use garlic. You could. I use onion. Up to you. To me, I think it brings out a little more flavor, so you don't have to add as much salt and onion powder and garlic powder and all that, which you can add on your own, but you really don't need to. I might be saying too much. So, tomato paste, stir it in there. Okay. After that, you want to get yourself a little glass, 4 ounces of water, and you add the water in there with the tomato paste, and get the tomato paste really, really, really thick, right? So once that's in there real thick, then you get your celery. You cut your celery up, put your celery in there with the tomato paste. Okay? Now you got the water, tomato paste, onion, garlic, and olive oil. That's going. Okay? She's going to see it start to thicken. Once that gets thick, add your tomato sauce. You use a little 4-ounce jar of tomato sauce, 4-ounce can of tomato sauce. Whatever brand you want to use. I use Hunt's, you use Sclafani, whatever you want to use. Add it in there. Now you're stirring it. Now the option in the beginning is if you want to use salt pork. You can use salt pork in the beginning too. That would be the first thing you do. You brown it on there with the olive oil. Then you could add your onion, your garlic, and your tomato paste. So the salt pork you can use to enhance the flavor even more. I don't use it. I do sometimes. I like using it, I should say, but like I said, this one happens to be for my grandmother. We're still letting this go, and it's getting real nice right now. And then after you add the tomato sauce, that's when you add your anywhere from 12 to 16 ounces of water. Add the water in here. And yeah, with the tomato sauce can, sometimes you can just take a little bit of the water and swish it around in the can, and then you can throw that in there too, because it'll all evaporate. It's just going to take a little bit longer for the water to evaporate, so it's just a matter of time. That's the only thing that's delaying it. The flavor will still be there. So after that's going with the tomato sauce and the onion, now it's looking kind of watery, right? Then that's when you add your half a box, or I'm going to say 12 ounces or so of stock, chicken broth, chicken stock, whatever. Some people use beef broth, but I use chicken stock or chicken broth. Put that in there, and now it's watery. Now it's going to go. It'll start thickening up. You'll start seeing it bubbling, and you keep stirring it. It'll start bubbling. You'll see foam coming to the top. Let it keep going and going and going. And then when you can take the piece of celery and just squeeze on it, and it feels a little squishy and not so tough, like so hard, that's when you could take your 2 to 3 cans of beans, 4 if you really want a lot, doesn't matter. I'd say 2 to 3 max, though, but it's up to you. Throw it in there and let that all cook. At that point now, you're going to lower it down to a 2 or 3. You want to just start bubbling at the top just a little bit, just like this. I'll show you. See that? That's how you want it to go. And as the time goes on, it's going to start thickening up. It's going to start thickening up. So, like I said, this is about there. It's got, like I said, about another 10 minutes or so. And you can eat, but like I said, the longer the better. Doesn't matter. The longer the better. And that's it. So if you have any questions, you know, this is my first time making a food video, and I don't really know too much about YouTube, but this is for people who want to make a quick pasta fazool video. I don't know how long it is. I can't see on there. What is it? I keep stopping, so probably a, what, 15-20 minute video, I guess. So anyhow, good luck. Email me, just leave a message down the bottom. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll go over it with you. You know, I'll make it. Let me know what else you might want. Like I said, name it. I could probably do it. And you try this, you'll really, really like it. Like I said, don't forget to top it off with a little Parmesan. Okay? Thank you guys, and let me know what you think. Bye.